Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Pisces moon signs, or if you have significant Pisces placements in your chart and are needing a feminine energy to work with or balance within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Pisces, let's get started with the overall context here. You have, so first of all, the broken ring, which says parting of the ways in either romance or business. And then underneath that, or in the different deck, you have the Nine of Cups. And here you have the fiery sword. So I feel like, and underneath that, okay, so I'm getting sort of like two stories or almost like two melodies that are coming in, where it's like there's one story or melody line that's like really bright and really like almost like playful, but then there's another that's a bit like I don't know, there's like conflict or something coming in through a different storyline. It feels like they're kind of like they're two stories that are separate, but one is having an effect on the other, is kind of how it's coming through. Especially with these cards coming out, it's like I feel like there's, with the Soul Shrinker and the Pook, trying to find a solution to this sort of Soul Shrinker energy, which is coming through as being some like, so it could be something to do with this broken ring energy. Like there may have been a situation where you're parting ways with somebody or something like that. It doesn't have to be that exactly, but it is a situation that feels draining. Pisces, I feel, okay, so anyways, that's the overall context. We're going to start off here with the Nalise the Alchemist, which talks about like inner transformation. I feel like for you Pisces, perhaps you're doing this, especially with like sort of like the parting of the ways, the Nine of Cups. That to me talks about like doing something that's beneficial for self, right? So it could be like prioritizing your happiness and well-being. I feel like this Nalise the Alchemist is coming up though because there's been some sort of like area of stagnation, or it could be tied to a particular dynamic or relationship where there was stagnation. Because the next card that was coming out here is the Laum, which talks about like unconditional giving and unconditional receiving. But it feels like to me that there was a situation here, especially because it talks about like perhaps you were giving to the point where like giving to a certain dynamic or certain relationship or perhaps even workplace or whatever, giving a lot of your energy into a situation to the point where it actually perhaps caused harm to you, or whatever that is. That's sort of the energy that's coming through. So perhaps you've recently, or this is sort of where you're moving into, like making a change about how you give to a certain situation, that it's like I feel like you're moving on from something, and it's coming through with this energy here. It says the Wedge, which says someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something that you want, and then the Turkey, which says someone is behaving stupidly. And it also came out with the Ant, which says work, success, and achievement. So it could be something to do with like a workplace where it's like, it's kind of coming through with like somebody from your work who is behaving in a way that's like interfering with what it is that you're trying to do, or like, again, I'm using this sort of like metaphor of like there's a melody that you're listening to, especially because the next card here is the Piper, which talks about this sort of like unspoken there's no words for this, right? It's kind of like, it's just like it's like an energy that you're tapping into or listening to, or something that you're hearing or that's pulling you forward. There's something that's like drawing you towards it in a very sort of like seductive or even perhaps romantic, or it's just coming through with a lot of like love, perhaps, with the cards coming out here next. But anyways, it feels like you're trying to listen to something, right? It's kind of just like you're doing something that makes you happy or whatever it is. You're trying to listen to this song that you're hearing, but it's like somebody comes in like with a turkey call, like that kind of, like, it's just interrupting. It feels like an interruption to this like beautiful melody that you're listening to. And it could be somebody that like you used to work with, or like whatever this is, right? It's just kind of like, you know, when you have AirPods in, you're kind of just minding your business, and then somebody comes in and just like disrupts that focus. That's the energy that they're coming in with. I don't know necessarily if they're intentionally trying to get in between you and something that you want, but it's kind of like that is the purpose that they are serving, is that they're serving as this sort of like wedge energy. Anyway, it's kind of like, because you have here the Ace of Cups here, which is talking about unconditional love. And after the Piper, you have the Singer of Chalice, which is also a very similar energy. I feel like this is your energy, Pisces, where it's like you are trying to tap into this sort of fountain of love and trust and joy and happiness and all of that. There's something about this energy here with the Singer of Chalice, which talks about like there's no real like word or definition to explain this energy. It's kind of just like, if you know, then you know. And I feel like there's somebody here, again, this sort of like interfering or interrupting energy that is almost like demanding your attention, is what's coming through here. And it's kind of might be testing your patience a little bit, Pisces, because their energy here is coming through with this kind of like, so first of all, the Claw, which says be careful, do not take risks. The Man, and the Bear, which says danger, especially in money matters. So it could be a man. If it's not a man, it's like they're in their masculine energy. So how they're approaching you, or whatever their energy feels like, it's perhaps very aggressive with the Bear here, of like, again, demanding. It feels like they're demanding something from you. It could be something like information, right? Because especially with the risks energy here, it's like, I feel like this one is actually what it is that maybe you're not aware of, or that's like not necessarily being shown to you, is kind of like this one here is going through some sort of issue. They're going through some sort of issue that they're needing help with. But it's kind of like they don't have, I don't know. For some reason they're coming to you. Is kind of how it's feeling, right? Or it's just like, it feels like they're coming to you maybe because of this broken ring energy, right? It's kind of, maybe they blame you for something. Maybe they are blaming you for something. I don't know. Or it's kind of like there's something about here about like, because of this broken ring energy, they're coming to you to either like seek a solution to the problem. Perhaps they're blaming you for some sort of problem that they have. Or not. It's just kind of like there's this card is so interesting to me with like the blood vessels in the hand. It's kind of feeling like anxiety, like that they have some sort of anxiety about a situation that they're coming to you with, because perhaps, I don't know, you have, especially with the Laum, right? It's like, I feel like maybe this was a situation here that you were helping them with before, is kind of how it's coming through, because it's being described by the 3 of Coins in reverse, the 3 of Cups, and the 9 of Voices, the 9 of Swords, which is this sort of anxiety, right? It's like, I feel like perhaps for you Pisces, there may have been somebody that you were trying to help or give a lot of, like, I don't know, support to, but it got to the point where it was actually harming you, or like taking too much from you, or whatever. So in an act of self-love, you cut them off, or withdrew your support, or whatever it is, right? It's kind of like, I don't necessarily want to say it's, it feels like a third wheel. It doesn't feel like a third party. It's kind of just like a third person who's not part of like whatever it is that you're now tuning into or focusing on. It's kind of like, well, you have here the Ace of Cups, right? But there are 2 birds here. It's kind of like this one is the one who's outside of that relationship. You've withdrawn support from this dynamic, is kind of how it's coming through to me. And it's interesting because I feel like this one is coming through with the claws, right? It kind of feels like they are somebody who causes anxiety, is kind of how it's coming through today. Like it was, especially with this bear energy and this, somebody who's causing anxiety to you in whatever way, because it's kind of like demanding something from you, or their energy is just very aggressive, is kind of how it's coming through. There's something here though about like there's something here about like in the 3rd Harry Potter books where they're trying to learn how to conquer their fears, right? There's this one creature that's called the boggart, that sort of like lives in like abandoned spaces and like cupboards that are not being used. And the thing about the boggart is that they can transform into whatever it is that you're afraid of. So when you confront this boggart, it'll like transform into like something that you are deeply afraid of, perhaps, right? Like some sort of like a creature or whatever. The solution in order to like beat the boggart or to defeat it is by imagining this sort of fear in the most ridiculous situation that you can, right? So one example would be like Professor Snape was the fear of one of the students. And so the solution to how to defeat this fear of Professor Snape was to imagine him in his grandmother's clothing, right? Like in the most ridiculous, colorful outfits that sort of dispels the fear. So there's something here about like, if you are encountering somebody, perhaps somebody who's like very aggressive or like very like causes anxiety in some way because of their energy, it's like the best solution to that is sort of like reframing it in a way that makes you laugh, or like finding something ridiculous about the situation that would make you laugh, because the solution to fear in this case is coming through as laughter or playfulness of some sort, right? There's something here about like trying your best to move forward from this sort of Nine of Swords anxiety that's being caused here. I feel like it's kind of like you are already doing that, because it feels like the Six of Swords here is talking about like moving into calmer waters. I feel like you have moved on. It's kind of just like there's still interference from this third energy, whatever or whoever this is, however this is playing out for you. Because the next cards that are coming out here are, so the Queen of Wands and the King of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. This is kind of looking to me like the King of Cups and the Queen of Wands are very opposite energies, right? It's because I'm seeing this as being sort of like, so whoever you are in this dynamic, Pisces, there's one who's like very serious here with the King of Cups, does not show emotions very readily is kind of how it's coming through. The Queen of Cups is or the Queen of Wands is feeling very opposite to that, like very playful, very open, very sunshine kind of energy. But it's kind of like this is sort of like the match that's coming through here. This is the dynamic that's sort of pulling on you, whether or not you are like, it kind of feels like this is the duet, or like the accompaniment, or like the song that you're hearing is this energy coming together. And there's also this Page of Coins, which does talk to me about a child. So there may be this sort of like coming together of this sort of family unit, which is what I'm seeing in this reading here. And you have here the Nest card, which says an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you, right? That's what I'm seeing. It's like this is the sort of family nest energy. But then there's this energy here, the Knight of Swords and the Five of Wands coming in. Like, this is the energy that's sort of like disrupting the nest, right? It's like you're here sort of comfortable in your nest with this loving, emotionally secure family dynamic, perhaps. And then this energy is kind of coming in like demanding something with the Five of Wands, right? It's like they're coming in with conflict on their mind is what is coming through with, right? Demanding something from you, or just being very aggressive, perhaps in like what it is that they're saying. But it's kind of like, I feel like the solution for you Pisces is that like there may be sort of like this tendency to shy away from this energy here with the Nine of Voices, because it's like it's something that's either causing fear or anxiety of some sort. But it's like there's try and imagine it this, if it's an individual, like find something ridiculous about this situation that makes you laugh. I'm not at all saying to laugh at this other person, right? That's not at all what I'm saying. It's not to say it like, it's just trying to find a way to like playfully uplift the energy of the situation, of like trying to make it either ridiculous or I don't know what to like. I don't really have a specific example. The only one that's coming through here is like a clown, right? Like dress it up in like ridiculous clothing or something like that in order to make you laugh. I don't know. Clowns can be kind of terrifying too, right? There's this kind of like clowning energy. I'm not sure, Pisces. But anyways, there is this other thing happening though here with the Arvel the Parrot and Taeum the Poet coming out next, because it's kind of like the three cards that are in the middle of your spread here are these three cards, which all talk about this sort of like unspoken communication, right? It's all of this sort of like music, right? The language of the universe, especially with this one. There's a lot of sort of like, you know how like there are some connections where you just like look at another person, you know what they're thinking, you know what they're feeling. It's just like when you get that close to somebody, you can understand what it is that they're thinking about a certain situation. I feel like there's this kind of connection here that's supporting you. They're supporting you from a distance is kind of how it's feeling to me, especially with the Taeom the poet, because this one comes in with sort of like this energy of like the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups combined, but they're sitting on the sidelines is kind of how it's coming through. This energy is really interesting. I feel like it's like there's somebody here who's feeling very perhaps like romantically or whatever. They're feeling like very attracted to what it is that you're doing, but for some reason they're on the sidelines. I feel like they're not quite making themselves known yet for whatever reason. It's like it's not time yet is kind of how it's coming through here with the Wheel of Fortune coming out. I feel like it's not time yet, but it's like they're on the sidelines supporting this thing that you're doing, because the cards that are coming out underneath that is the ink pot, which says problems to be resolved, and the vase, secret admirer. Because I feel like there's the Taeom the poet is a little bit mischievous. There's like playfulness. It's kind of like somebody on the sidelines who's like cheering you on in a way that's like very playful, or it's almost like they're trash talking the person who's disrupting your peace is kind of how it's coming through here. They're like trash talking the other person to make you laugh. Maybe it is kind of coming through this like this like dynamic of like one is very playful, the other one is very serious. I don't know which one you are in this dynamic, Pisces, but the combination of those two energies is like what is going to solve the problem is kind of how it's feeling. I feel like this combination of cards is also saying like, if you don't know who this person is, Pisces, right? They may not be actually physically around you. It's like there's somebody energetically, spiritually, emotionally, however you want to phrase this kind of like unseen spiritual energy. There's somebody from a distance on the sidelines who is seeing how you're handling these problems, right? Like this problem, this situation that's causing stress maybe, and they admire the way that you're doing it is how it's coming through, right? They have a lot of support for you. It's just kind of like they're going about it in a way that's like not direct. Like they're like, they're not in the game with you is kind of how it's coming through. They're sitting on the sidelines. They're watching from a distance is kind of how it's coming through. There's a lot of like music energy coming through with this as well. So you may be getting like downloads through music in some way. Perhaps they are a musician of some sort. And then the last three cards here for you Pisces, you have the Sun, the King of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. This Sun energy is all of this sort of like playful happiness, right? I feel like this problem will be resolved. It could be because you do have the Queen of Wands here, right? The Queen and the King of Wands. So either there's going to be a situation where it's like, you'll be shifting from the sort of Queen of Wands into the King of Wands, like taking an action. This King of Wands to me talks about like there is a lot of playful energy here between this dynamic, but this one talks about like taking a stand or taking a very strong position in whatever it is through your actions. The Nine of Wands has been coming up so much recently. Of course, I'm using a different deck today, so it's coming through, but it is still sort of like this upward climb, like persevering, resilience kind of energy that is coming through here with the Nine of Wands. So it's like to keep going forward, because it does feel like there's this situation that you're like trying to move past, but it's like there's an energy that's like keeps interfering or is disrupting your energy in some way because they're behaving in a way that's like demanding your attention. I'm just being reminded of like, because I used to be a teacher, and so there especially like at that age, like I was teaching high school kids, so there are like kids who just like don't know, like perhaps they have no filter in like what they're saying. Perhaps they're having like some sort of angry outburst. They're giving voice to their anger is kind of how it's feeling. I don't know what it is that, like, again, perhaps they're just angry and they need somebody to listen to them. It's also kind of coming through, like, I'm not going to tell you how to deal with the situation, Pisces, but there's this energy here of like sometimes a little bit of giving a little bit to a situation can be enough to sort of change it or shift it, is kind of how it's feeling. Because you have all of this sort of like Singer of the Chalice energy, where it's like you have a lot of love, right? It just kind of feels like maybe you're feeling fearful about engaging with this energy because it's kind of like they may cause pain, or there's a fear of that here with the bear, right? Their energy feels really aggressive, demanding your attention. The best way that I found to deal with sort of like students who were angrily expressing their feelings is like just kindness, I guess, right? Like just to be kind to them, right? It's like the ones who are the most disruptive, the most like acting out, sometimes they just need someone to be kind to them, right? Someone to acknowledge them, someone to say like, I know this is not who you are. It's like you're just acting from this place. I feel like there's part of that where it's like the biggest sort of nuisances are the ones who need the most love. That's sort of the energy that's coming through for you, Pisces. So just keep that in mind. Again, it's kind of like, especially if it's somebody who's acting very angry, it's like part of the trick in flipping that energy is to imagine them as like almost like a child, right? There's especially if it's an adult who's throwing a tantrum, there's guidance here of like, imagine them as a child. How would you speak to a child, or like to soothe them, right? To like explain that their feelings are valid, that how they feel is valid, but to come in with that sort of aggressive energy is not the solution, right? That's not going to help the problem. It's not going to solve your problems by doing that. Kindness is kind of just how I'm going to end it for you, Pisces. So I'm going to leave it there. If this message resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.